Good evening, everybody out there. This is Gloria Coppola, and I wanted to come live here tonight to talk about angels. Who loves angels? Well, I better love angel because my name Gloria means angel, right? So I want you to have the opportunity to meet an angel communicator today. So if you have questions, be sure to drop them down below. And if you have a favorite angel you like, let us know who it is. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on this lovely woman. Her name is Tina Mast, and Tina is an angel communicator. Welcome, Tina.
Hi, Gloria. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on tonight. You know, angels is such a popular topic, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, you can find anything to read or decorate or even t-shirts and bags. They're all over.
They are all over. Literally, they're all over.
They literally are all over.
So, Tina, give us a little bit background about yourself and how you got involved with communicating with these angels. I know you have a little bit of a story about it, but just kind of narrow it down so our viewers can get an idea of why you have this love for angels.
Well, ironically, years ago, I would collect things and I loved angels, and I only told a few people that I liked it because otherwise then you get overwhelmed with all the decorations of angels. So I had a few here or there, but it wasn't until later on that I was more aware of them around in my life. And then it seemed like I didn't need the bag or the mug or the cup. They were with me. So about 10 years ago, I got this wonderful gift that I'm able to communicate with them, see them, hear them, and deliver some messages. It's really, really neat.
It is neat. You know, I've always been attracted to angels too. And really funny story, when I was a little girl, because my name means angel in the highest, right? I didn't know this as a little girl. And going to Catholic school, we had All Saints Day and everybody was picking their saint and had to dress up as their saint. And I'm crying because I don't have a saint. And my mother's friend brings out the big Bible trying to show me, but look at Gloria as an angel. And I'm like, well, no, I want to be a saint. But I know, right? And then finally, after years, you accept your name and what it means behind it. So it's actually been a gift. And I love angels too. I have angels everywhere. I communicate with angels. So you told me a story a while back that your gift came to you when you were in Sedona and you had a sense of something there, right?
I did. I was on a trip with my one sister, and no matter where we went, I felt like someone was watching me, to the point that it actually made us change what we were doing because it was such an intense feeling. She and I were just sitting on the side of the mountain and just admiring the views, and just like that, then I could see them everywhere. Unfortunately, that stayed with me. I was a little concerned I would have lost it when I left Sedona, but fortunately it didn't happen that way.
So you could actually see them too?
I can see them, and I can talk to them, and I can hear them.
Wow, that is really amazing. So how did you get comfortable knowing these angels were actually talking to you, like when you first happened and then it developed more? How'd you get comfortable with this?
Well, honestly, it took a little time because when it first happened, I mean, if you can imagine, all of a sudden, something you never saw or heard before, and now all of a sudden you can, and it was nothing you did to make that happen. So it was just kind of over time, you just kind of get a little more comfortable. I got a little more daring and asking questions to see if they would respond. First couple of times I asked questions and I got a direct response. I was a little startled because I didn't realize it would happen that way or that it could be that easy for me. But it's just over time and practice, and I've come to learn to know them kind of just like you know your friends and people you work with.
Wow. So when you say that they give you messages and you actually hear them, like you're clairaudient?
I am clairaudient, so I can hear them. And it's just like how I'm talking with you, but it's more in your mind's eye. It's more that communication. It's not a verbal out loud that I speak to them.
So do you see an angel around me?
Actually, I do. You've got one on your left and your right. So
wow,
you've got some maternal and paternal going on.
Interesting. I could use all the help I can get right now.
Yeah.
So how can we sense angels and spirit guides around us? Like you said, you can see two of them around me. How do you sense that? Like if somebody wants to develop these skill sets, what will help with that?
I think one of the simplest things is being aware of how much they're around you in terms of things that you can't explain, but that you might hear something, and then in that conversation with a friend a little bit later, it's the same exact words. Or it may be a matter that you just take time to be quiet. So many of us are so busy, and some of us even are desperate to hear. And we want to know, we want to know, we want to know, but we don't take the time to be still for us to hear or to feel them. And sometimes it could be a smell or a color that's consistent that follows you around. It doesn't have to necessarily be the same communication like I get.
I'm kind of looking at your fireplace and the different shapes happening and then seeing if there's any angels peeking out. So yeah, so you have to be quiet, you have to listen, but sometimes people feel like, well, I'm not sure that that's what I really heard, or they doubt themselves. So how did you develop the confidence?
Well, I had that doubt because I wasn't familiar, and I kind of knew what that felt like to doubt it. So I just kind of spun it around. And instead of doubting it, I just allowed myself the opportunity, like, okay, maybe that was angels. I still kind of was like, yeah, that's not an angel. That's just my head talking to me or something like that. But I just kind of allowed myself to turn it around and see it from a different perspective. Hey, what if that was an angel? What were you trying to say? Or even just being open to the concept that they're around you. It definitely makes you more aware.
Yeah. So if you're just joining us, this is Tina Mast. She's an angel communicator, and she's also one of the co-authors in the book Women Standing Strong Together. And I wanted to bring her on today because I know angels is a really hot topic, and a lot of our viewers love angels and would like to know their angels. So Tina's giving you some tips, and maybe she'll even do a little angel reading or something, maybe. What do you think, Tina?
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Okay. All right. So she was talking about, being quiet and listening. And your angels, when they speak to you, do you find that they also give you messages for other people?
They absolutely do. So there's sometimes when I'm around certain people, I call it chatter. The chatter gets a little louder. And just like in the way you can kind of discern for yourself, if someone's telling you a story and it's a story that, say, they want you to tell your children, you'll absorb it differently and then communicate it to your children. It's a different sense if the story's for you. Same here with the messages that come from the angels. If there are messages that they have for someone else, it definitely has a different feel to it. And I know that it's not for me. And that's only over time and practice that I've been able to discern between when it's mine and when it's not.
So what are some tips you can give our listeners on how do you discern that, Because like you were saying, sometimes the chatter is so much. And I know that I'm also clairaudient, so I had to work with it too, but maybe you got some other tips that I don't even know about, but that you can tell our viewers.
I think one of the simplest ways is, like I said, to maybe just change your perspective on it. So by changing my perspective on it, it opened it up to me to view it in a different way. So say that I had an angel that was trying to communicate to me and it wasn't message meant for me. Mm-hmm. It may not mean anything to me. And I have a hard time because I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to decipher, well, what does that mean? And once I've thought it through a little and it doesn't sound familiar, that's one way you can see that it might not be a message for you. Sometimes what happens is the message is very familiar. So it's a message that's for someone else, but it sounds like it could apply to you. So if you hear that, then apply it to your life. And if it doesn't feel like it's satisfied, if it still feels like it's kind of lingering, maybe part of your role in it is that you're to pass that message on to someone else.
Mm-hmm. So when we think of angels, we think of this angelic, obviously, entity, this being. But would you also consider sometimes, like when we have a connection with a loved one that's passed on, that could be an angel message from our loved one, or is that different?
It can be similar, but it tends to be more different. When
In
you
what
have a
way?
message, when you have a message that comes from someone that's passed away, it's much more direct and something more relatable right away. When you have a message that comes from an angel, it is relatable, but that's not your first thought. That's not how you first receive it. Your body can kind of feel that the energy might be a little bit different. And also, too, your emotions are a little different. When it comes from an angel, your emotions tend to not be so heavily connected, especially if it's a new angel you haven't met. But when it
Mm-hmm.
comes from someone who's passed away, you tend to have that emotional connection that is
That
almost
makes
instantaneous.
that makes sense. Actually, yeah. So do you have one specific angel that communicates with you most of the time?
I do. Her name is Jess. She hangs out on my right side. Jess is so playful. She's the one that reminds me to play, to not let the stress overwhelm me. Um, there are times when I am really tense and really worked up, and I just kind of dismiss it because I can't focus on it. She'll start playing hopscotch or start playing jump rope or something to try to get my attention. And even if it just gets me to step away from it, she
Mm-hmm.
always reminds me to have fun, always reminds me to not, don't get too worried about it. Kind of be that little kid, play on the swings, you know, play in the snow, whatever the case may be. So she's real fun, real friendly, real bubbly, always ready to go. And
Now,
that comes in handy.
I have a question because, again, you did your story in Women Standing Strong Together, and I know a little bit about your childhood from that story.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think she was there with you when you were a kid going through all of the other stuff that was kind of heavy and but giving you that hope that things would get better?
That's a great question. And looking back now, I absolutely feel that she was there. And I think a lot of people can relate in that sense when times are really heavy and difficult, and you kind of surprise yourself how you get through it. Um,
Yeah.
so for me, definitely to the stresses and the worry and the intensity of just the trials and tribulations of life, and you make
Yeah.
it through, and you can come out positive and laughing and find something good that came out of that. I definitely feel that Jess would be a part of that. She would
I
love
would
the opportunity.
I would kind of think so because your story, your childhood, issues and stuff that you went through, they were a challenge. They're a big challenge. And like you were saying, a lot of people have things going on in life, and yet how do they make it through? There's like that sense of something that keeps moving you in a positive direction or something that gives you hope. So I'm glad you said, looking back at it now, that you're like, yeah, I think she was there all along.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think as people learn to even be aware of the angels, when they can look back on situations, I think they really will be astounded and be like, oh my gosh, that was them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So a lot of people, when they think of angels, they'll think of like Archangel, Michael or Ariel. So what's the difference between angel and archangel? Are you able to explain that?
From my experience, the difference for me between the two, between the angel and archangel, archangels have a higher sense of purpose. For me, they tend to have a job, and they've come to do the job right then and there, exactly when it's needed. Where the other angels, for me, they have a job, but they're a little more relaxed about it. It doesn't have to happen right away. They can tend to kind of slow down and enjoy and kind of visit a little, if you will.
Hmm. It's like the archangels, you'll call upon them when you need them for certain jobs, right? Whereas
Right,
personal angels kind of in and out of your life, they're helping you.
right,
Okay.
right.
So if I wanted to meet my angel guide tonight, can you help me?
I can.
How do we do
One of the very first things that I try to tell people when they ask me to be able to meet their angel, first you have to be really open to it. You really have to allow yourself to get lost in the moment and kind of settle into the journey. it for some people, it's not something that happens right away. It's not something that I sit down and I want it to happen and it happens. You have to be patient. Think of it as meeting someone new for the very first time. When you meet someone new for the very first time, you don't overwhelm them. You don't like, oh my gosh, you're here. It's nice to meet you. I just met you. You would take your time and you would kind of pace yourself and be relaxed. And I think the biggest stumble that people have is giving it that time. Because you want it, you've decided you want to do this, and I want to do it, and I want it to happen right now. But that's not generally how it happens. At least no one I've experienced or anyone that I've spoken to has had it happen just because they're ready for it. You really have to kind of set the scene and set the stage and kind of allow it to evolve. It's not something that's instantaneous. If it is something that does happen quickly, I think those who ask for it are kind of shocked. And they need a minute to be like, wait a minute, what was that? So it's hard for them to kind of absorb. It's a lot to happen.
I bet. So I know that I have angels with me. You saw 2 of my angels with me, but how can I tune into maybe just one of them and really get a better sense and feel for them?
Okay, so think of yourself at a dinner party, right? So you're meeting all these new people and you're drawn to one person that you feel like you want to talk to. Take that same approach when you are meeting angels or hearing chatter that you haven't heard before. There might be one that might seem a little louder or a little more comfortable. So just kind of tend to give your focus to that, and you just
loud.
Get your attention. They're trying to get your attention. But I tend to try to guide people in that way. And it's just simply like a conversation of someone new that you're meeting at a party. You would just take it easy, someone that you're comfortable to talk to, and you ask questions and you get answers. And from that, that's how the conversation is guided.
So when you're doing actually an angel reading for somebody, you're tapping into that for them, right?
Correct. I am.
Okay. So anybody out there that's listening, curious about an angel reading or something, we'll put you in touch with Tina, but she's also going to be at an event in Pennsylvania, Chester Heights, on January 25th. So if you're anywhere in that area, then drop a line below and we'll get you the link to tell you more about that. She'll be speaking, and on the 26th, she'll actually be doing angel communication readings for anybody that wants to, get in touch with their angels. So do you use, I know some people use angel cards. Do you use cards too, or do you just do all this from your clairaudient channel?
I'm able to use both. And whenever I do a reading, I let the angels tell me what they would like. So I do have my angel cards.
Ooh, let's play.
From me. And sometimes the angels, when I do a reading, I'm the one who's handling the cards.
Okay.
Sometimes they'll guide me that the person I'm doing the reading for is to use the cards. It's just whatever they clue me in, whatever they tell me.
So let's play. You want to play?
Okay. Sure. Okay. Absolutely.
So what do we do? Okay.
So for you, we'll use you as our student or our receiver. Is there a certain question that you have in mind or something that you've been thinking about lately? Even a person.
I'm always thinking. So you want something very specific, right?
It doesn't have to be something that's on your mind, maybe something that not necessarily you could be something you want an answer to or something you want some guidance on, something you're a little like you feel like you made the decision, but you're not really sure.
Okay, yeah, I've got something coming up in a couple of months, and I was all ready to move forward with it, and now I'm thinking I don't know if I should. So is that something that the angels could help with if this decision is to move forward or not?
So as you were saying that question to me, I very distinctly heard there's no reason for you to be held back. You're the only reason you're holding it back. So you might be a little frightened. You might be a little uncharted territory. Here's their card. Focus.
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 Okay.
Maybe it's a matter that your energy is divided in too many spots, and you need to focus on the one that you want the attention to come to, the one that you want the answers for.
Okay, and that makes sense because I've been working on getting this book published for all of you gals. So I've been over here, and now I got to realize something in February. And tonight I was talking about it, and I had to put my focus there. So that's perfect. That's really cool.
Yeah, sometimes the messages are very direct. Sometimes the messages don't make sense to me. Most of the time they don't. And even sometimes for the person who is being read, they have to think about it a little bit. Some you can tell by their reaction, it's instant. They're like, oh my gosh, that was what I needed to hear. And some they're like, wait, that doesn't make sense. And then as the reading's going, they're like, oh, I know what that was now. And then it clicks for them.
Cool. So what other tips and hints and ideas can you give our audience about doing this work? Like, I'm open and receptive to it. So some people might be like, I don't believe in that. I don't know. But yet they're curious. And I'm sure you've had clients like that. How do you work with them? How do you get them to relax into it?
Well, I guess the way that works best for me is having the angels be the guide, in the sense, you're obviously, if someone is curious, maybe they don't totally believe in it, but they're curious. So that curiosity might lead them to read articles or to listen to podcasts that would just kind of open their mind and change their perspective. And sometimes it's simply a matter of allowing that to happen, that it will allow that communication to happen. Keep in mind, the communication might not be the same way that I get the communication. It could be that, maybe you're thinking about someone, right? And somebody you haven't talked to, it's a friend that you've had differences with. And then all of a sudden you get in your car and the song on the radio is the song the two of you used to sing when you would do sleepovers or something like that.
Okay.
Angels kind of guiding you, like, go ahead, reach out, take the step and say, hey, hello, how are you? I haven't talked to you in a long time.
Okay, cool. So in your story, I remember the moment that you shared in Sedona when you had that first sense of angels, and then you had to get comfortable with this. But what did other people think about you when all of a sudden, this new part of you emerges and you're like, okay, I can talk to angels?
Well, I have to say, I didn't share it with a lot of people right away because I was afraid. I didn't have confidence in it, and I certainly didn't have the confidence to deal with any kind of rejection.
Yeah.
So I was hesitant, but once I would tell people, you would get mixed messages. You get some people be like, oh my gosh, that's fantastic. And then you would get the people be like, there's no way, you're making that up. And it was a challenge to try to explain to them without giving them specifics that may have come to me. But I think it was just a matter of, it was more of a challenge to kind of keep it to myself. It took more energy to keep it to myself than it was to just say, this is who I am. This is what I do. Just like, you think of Celine Dion, she's this fantastic singer. Think if she had never shared that gift with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
She needs to let that out. And I think for a lot of other people, it's the same thing. Maybe your talent or your gift is different, but it's the same idea. It's easier to let it out.
Absolutely. And the truth is we all need to let our gifts out. And that's kind of what this compilation of these stories was, in Women Standing Strong Together. And we got to see, or you got to see when you get the book, okay,
Right.
how these women all went through something, and out of it, a gift came.
Absolutely.
And your gift was angels, okay? Mine is being able to read the soul wisdom and the soul purpose of somebody. And none of it would have happened if we didn't, probably have these shakeups in our life. Don't you agree?
I totally agree. Yes.
And then having that trust and faith on a deeper level to actually honor these gifts. Don't you think?
I totally agree with that. And it does take that, because it's kind of foreign. When you first learn of a new talent or a new gift, you got to kind of figure it out. So you have to have faith and trust in that. Otherwise, you're not going to figure it out. You're not going to have the endurance or the tenacity or the desire to figure it out.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you had the tenacity to figure it out.
Thank you. Me too.
Now, when you did that little angel reading with me, you had me think of a question. But do you ever, like you said, you tuned into two of my angels, do you ever just kind of know without the person asking something that they're trying to get a message to that you have to give to somebody?
I do. There are times that could be kind of a gentle nudge. And there are times that is very insistent. You have to tell them, you have to tell them, you have to tell them, you have to tell them. And that, again, you have to kind of use your discernment. Not everybody wants to be bombarded with a stranger saying something to them. So I just kind of say a silent prayer. If I'm supposed to say something, then let me say something. And if not, then I won't say anything. So
what does this one want you to say?
well, that one is saying definitely, you got a lot of energy. It's like a party. It's like a party. You're trying to keep going and keep going and keep going. She's saying you got to take some time for you, or that party's not going to happen. You have to kind of give yourself some downtime, or you're going to burn out, and then you're not good to yourself or others. But
and actually, the other night, I actually think I heard her because I went out dancing for the first time in ages.
I love it.
So good to be around a group of people that I don't really even know. I had just met them. I saw something go up on Facebook, like, I'm there. Didn't even know there was going to be dancing. We were going out for pizza, and they had these oldies songs that were so cool to hear, like songs that I remember my older siblings listening to. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't heard these in years. So that's almost like all these angels talking to me from beyond, you know? We just got up and we danced and we had fun. And I got to tell you, it shifted my energy tremendously. And yes, I have been taking some downtime in between this project, this book that we definitely have to get out real soon. And so this is, again, one of our authors that's being spotlighted tonight, if you're joining us. And the book is Women Standing Strong Together, to be released on December 29th. And if you'd like to meet your angel guide, you can get in touch with Tina, or you can join her at an event coming up in Chester Heights, Pennsylvania, January 5th and 26th. So I'll put the link down later. But if they would like to get in touch with you, Tina, and maybe have an angel reading, how do they do that?
They can email me at talkswithangels7.
I'm going to put that up here, 7.
Talkswithangels7 at gmail.com.
Okay, so I'm going to put this up, and then you could let me know if I did this correctly.
Okay.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. So if you've been listening to Tina and you'd like to talk with your angels, there's her email, and you can email her and tell her you saw her on Powerful Potential and Purpose and find out about getting a reading. And how long are they generally?
They're generally a half hour to an hour. I usually don't do longer than an hour. That gets a little long for angels, for me, and for the readers. So an hour max, but usually about a half an hour.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you for coming on tonight and being our spotlight author guest. And it's been exciting to work along with you and all these ladies. And I know that your story is really going to not only touch hearts, but inspire people to get in touch with their gift.
Thank you so much, Gloria. Thanks for having me. And I'm so grateful to be able to be a part with all these amazingly brave women sharing their story. It's been really phenomenal.
It really has been, you know, and we talk about, you know, supporting each other and helping each other out there, but that doesn't always happen and come to fruition. It's more talk, but it's been really wonderful to see the amount of women that did start to trust this process. And of course, you know, we're always kind of a little hesitant, is this really going to work? But we did fix each other's crowns. We held each other up. We got each other through fears and tears and all sorts.
Yeah, definitely.
And now look for them coming out at different events, perhaps in a state near you. Okay. So if you want to learn more about where they're going to be, I'm going to put Powerful Potential and Purpose.com. Okay. This is the website you can go to get more information about the event and the link to actually go register and sign up. We only have 40 seats, so it's a limited engagement. And there's going to be 4 of us there, including me, so it'd be fun. And you'll get to purchase the book if you want to get it autographed by this beautiful woman here or any of
Thank you.
our authors. So powerfulpotentialandpurpose.com is happy and excited to help you reach your potential whenever you're ready. Thanks again, Tina. You have a beautiful evening.
Thanks, Gloria. The same to you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.